A 10-year-old boy packed 10 tiny lizards in his sock on a family trip to Italy and brought them home to Cincinnati. And in doing so, he changed the ecology of an entire American city. This week on The Internet Says It's True. Welcome back to The Internet Says It's True, where every week we learn something that sounds like I just made it up, but it's really true. Part of the WCBE podcast experience. My name's Michael Kent. Welcome back. This is episode 271. If you have not rated and reviewed the podcast, please take a moment to do that. It would be fantastic to have a review from everyone who regularly listens to the show. Listener D. Brode recently did that and said, quote, "I look forward to the new stories." Thank you. You're very welcome, D. Brode. I appreciate you listening. And Fluffy Kitten 0521 says, "Love it." Well, I appreciate that. Thank you so much, Fluffy Kitten and D. Brode. Also, don't forget there's merch on the website. If you want a Tizzit t-shirt or mug, that's the place to go look. It's theinternetsaysitstrue.com, and then you just click merch. You'll find all of that there. This week's story is similar to a couple that we've done in the past, like Pablo Escobar's cocaine hippos and the cobras that invaded a Midwestern town in Missouri. This one happened pretty close to home, just a couple hours down the street from here in Cincinnati, Ohio. Before there were lizards on Cincinnati's walls, there was Lazarus. For most of the 20th century, Lazarus department stores were more than retail. They were civic landmarks. In Cincinnati, the Lazarus name meant stability, influence, and this sense that the city belonged on the national stage. Downtown shopping revolved around Lazarus. Window displays became, these like seasonal events, and families didn't just shop at Lazarus, they went there. The stores reflected a version of American confidence that peaked in the decades after World War II, when industry boomed and wages rose. The country looked outward with curiosity instead of fear. The Lazarus family helped invent modern retail. Fixed pricing, centralized buying, employee benefits. Fred Lazarus Jr. was not just a store executive, he was a national figure. His ideas reshaped how Americans consumed goods, and consumption in the post-war era did not stop at products. It extended to experience, travel, exposure. The world itself became something Americans felt entitled to explore and bring home with them. That mattered more than anyone could have predicted. In the years following the war, international travel opened up for wealthy American families. Commercial air travel expanded and Europe was rebuilding. Vacations abroad stopped being the domain of diplomats and academics. It became something successful business families did. Souvenirs crossed borders in suitcases. Customs enforcement was pretty lax by modern standards, and no one was talking about invasive species. In the summer of 1951, the Lazarus family traveled to Lake Garda in northern Italy. The region is known for steep hillsides, stone walls, and a climate warmed by constant sun and reflected heat. It's also home to the common wall lizard, Podarcis muralis. In southern Europe, they're everywhere. They cling to masonry and they bask on stone. They dart into cracks. They live alongside humans so seamlessly, they're often ignored entirely. But one person noticed them. George Rao Jr. was 10 years old. He was part of this Lazarus trip. He wasn't related to Lazarus by blood. He was related by marriage via his stepfather. Some reports say he was the stepson of Fred Lazarus Jr. And little George wasn't conducting research. He wasn't making a statement. He was a kid on vacation. He saw something fast and alive and he wanted to keep it. So he caught one lizard, then another. By the end of the trip, he had collected 10 of them. What happened next is the kind of thing that sounds impossible by modern standards, but this was plausible in 1951. George packed the lizards into his sock and he boarded the airplane home. And no one checked, no one questioned it. The animals somehow survived the journey across the Atlantic into the American Midwest. When the family returned to Cincinnati, George released the lizards into his backyard, and nothing happened. Nothing dramatic happened, at least not immediately. The lizards disappeared into the landscape and they found shelter, they found food, they probably found heat, and they found something no one could have intentionally designed for them. Cincinnati was ready. The city sits atop limestone. It's carved by the Ohio River, and its hills create sun-facing slopes that trap warmth. Its older neighborhoods are lined with brick retaining walls, stone foundations, abandoned rail corridors, and rocky embankments. And these structures are the perfect type to absorb heat during the day and release it slowly at night. And together, they create urban microclimates that closely resemble Mediterranean environments. For a European wall lizard, Cincinnati wasn't Italy, but it was close enough. Over the following decades, the lizards reproduced quietly, and they spread along walls and rail lines, river bluffs. They were noticed occasionally, dismissed as curiosities, and then forgotten again. No headlines followed, no warnings were issued. There was no reason to believe anything unusual was happening, until scientists started paying attention. In the early 2000s, biologists began documenting Podarcis muralis populations in Cincinnati and surrounding areas. What they found was astonishing. Genetic analysis revealed that the entire population could be traced back to a tiny founding group. Possibly as few as 3 individuals survived long enough to reproduce. This was a classic genetic bottleneck, a population explosion built on almost no genetic diversity, and yet these lizards thrived. Researchers from Ohio Wesleyan University and other institutions began studying them as a rare, natural experiment. In interviews with Local 12 and the Cincinnati Enquirer, biologists described the situation as a real-time example of urban adaptation. Measurements showed Cincinnati wall lizards were often larger than their European counterparts. Some populations had longer limbs, potentially aiding movement across rough urban surfaces that they would not have faced in Italy. As one researcher explained in local reporting, the city itself had done most of the work. Humans created the habitat, the lizards simply occupied it. By the time the research gained public attention, there were thousands of lizards across Hamilton County, possibly tens of thousands. They lived in parks and backyards and cemeteries, industrial zones, residential neighborhoods. Residents began sharing photos. News outlets ran features. The nickname stuck. They called them Lazarus lizards. The name tied the animals permanently to the family whose vacation made it all possible. And this is where the story changes, because once a species becomes established, the question is no longer how it arrived, the question becomes what it changes. Before we talk about that, before we get into how scientists realize these lizards were evolving in measurable ways, and before we talk about what happens when a species that was never supposed to be here becomes permanent, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll talk about unintended consequences, urban evolution, and what the Lazarus lizards reveal about the modern world. Be right back. If you love listening to this podcast every week and you want to show your support, that would mean a great deal to me. You can do that by becoming a Patreon member. We've got members at all levels, whether you want to pledge $1 a month or $10 a month. Just think about the value that you receive from this show. And if you like the histories and the stories that you learn about or the jokes that you hear, and if you think that they're worth it, consider signing up. For that, you get every episode ad-free and a week early, access to bonuses like the unedited videos of the guest appearances, and 20% off all merchandise. You can sign up today at patreon.com/Michael Kent. That's patreon.com/Michael Kent. There was a time that humans used 100% organic products as healing balms and moisturizers for their skin. Well, I've partnered with an awesome company that wants to get back to those times. Fatco sells organic and responsibly made tallow-based skincare products. For centuries, humans used tallow in skin moisturizers and healing balms, but unfortunately, the topical application of these fats seemed to stop around the same time that animal fats stopped being considered part of a healthy diet. A lot of modern skincare products do more harm than good by stripping your skin of its natural oils. Let's change that. You can try them out now at fatco.com and get 15% off your order by using my promo code INTERNET. Go to theinternetsaysitstrue.com/deals for the link. What if your kid could open a box and step into another century? With History Unboxed, they can. Each month, a new time-traveling adventure arrives at your doorstep, packed with hands-on projects, stories, recipes, and learning has never been more fun. No screens, no boring textbooks, just immersive, age-appropriate fun that makes history stick. Whether they're mummifying an apple like an Egyptian, or crafting medieval armor, or exploring the music of the Harlem Renaissance, they're not just learning about history, they're living it. Used by families, homeschoolers, and educators across the country, History Unboxed makes the past come alive with every box. I think it's amazing that I'm personally in my 40s and I'm still learning history every week. I wasn't interested in history as a kid, and I think that's because I didn't have something that made it fun. Things have changed since then. History Unboxed makes learning history engaging, fun, and hands-on in the comfort of your own home. So if your child loves to ask why and what was it like, this is the perfect way to fuel that curiosity. Ready to time travel? Sign up today by clicking the deals link in the show notes. Before the break, we left off with a few unremarkable lizards disappearing into a Cincinnati backyard. No headlines, no warnings, just animals adapting quietly to a place that happened to suit them. And that quiet beginning is exactly what made everything that followed so surprising. As the population expanded, scientists began asking harder questions. What were the lizards eating? Were they competing with native species? Were they altering insect populations? The answers were complex and often unsatisfying. I mean, I live in Ohio. I'm not sure I've ever seen a lizard in the wild in this state. Wall lizards primarily eat insects. In urban environments, insects are already abundant and constantly shifting. Researchers found no evidence of catastrophic ecological damage, but absence of catastrophe is not the same as absence of impact. The lizards undoubtedly changed local food webs, even if those changes were very subtle. What made the situation even more interesting was how well the lizards integrated. They didn't spread uniformly, they followed human infrastructure. Rail corridors became migration routes, and stone walls became habitat islands. Neglected spaces turned into refuges. In interviews, biologists emphasized that this success wasn't due to aggression or dominance, it was due to compatibility. Humans accidentally built the perfect environment for them. Over time, ODNR, that's the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, classified Podarcis muralis as a naturalized species. That designation meant they were no longer treated as a temporary invasive. They were part of our ecosystem. And with that came legal protection. In Ohio, it's illegal to harm or capture them without authorization. A species smuggled in a sock had become protected wildlife in Ohio. The unintended consequences extend beyond ecology. These lizards have become a case study in how cities function as evolutionary engines. Urban heat islands extend active seasons, and reduced predators shift survival pressures. Artificial structures replace natural terrain. In Cincinnati, the lizards adapted faster than expected, and that adaptation is ongoing. There's a deeper irony here. The Lazarus family represented modern retail, globalization, and consumer culture. The lizards represent the biological side effects of that very same system: movement without foresight, connection without planning, and permanence without intent. Today, many Cincinnati residents feel affection for the lizards. Children grow up seeing them as normal, and visitors are surprised to learn they don't belong. And the line between native and non-native sort of blurs with every generation. The Lazarus lizards did not invade Cincinnati. They arrived quietly. They stayed, and over time, they became part of the city's identity. And that may be the most important lesson of all. Change does not always announce itself. Sometimes it crawls, sometimes it hides, sometimes it crosses an ocean in a sock and waits patiently for decades until someone finally asks how it got there. The internet says it's true. It's time for Yap Yap, the part of the podcast where I call a friend. And today I'm calling my friend Tanya Vora. Tanya is a Columbus-based comedian known for her deadpan delivery, sharp observational humor, and she highlights the absurdities of everyday life, often through the lens of her Indian American experience. She also runs a live talk show called Spice Up, in which is two comedians and a chef. Basically, they just talk about food, which is fantastic. I got to see Tanya perform stand-up when my friend was in town doing, actually, friend of the show, Glenn Tickle, who you all know if you're regular listeners. Glenn was in town doing a stand-up show, and that's where I met Tanya. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. Now, how long have you been doing comedy?
I'm about 2.5 years in. I'll be 3 years in the summer.
That's fantastic. My immediate observation of seeing you do comedy was that you are very comfortable on stage. And so I would have guessed that you were at it longer than that, because it seemed like you had stage presence. You were over the first part of stand-up, which is where you're still sort of feeling out what the stage feels like and what it's like to stand in front of people. Did you have like stage experience before comedy?
No, so that's really cool to hear. I don't know where that comes from, because I still have stage fright. When I first started, I definitely did a lot, but I think because my full-time job, I'm a UX researcher, so I'm constantly talking to people and like writing discussion guides, and I think that skill set translates a little bit to this.
Probably. Yeah, absolutely. And you have studied ad nauseum the human reaction to things. So
Yes.
I imagine there's probably a connection there. I don't know anything about UX, and other than, obviously all of us use it every day without knowing we're using it. But that's fantastic. That's really cool. And well, let's just get straight into the podcast. But before we do that, did you bring a fact with you that may be something we haven't heard about?
I do have a fact, yes, and I'm hoping you haven't heard about it. How many time zones are in the country of China?
Oh, no. China's huge. By landmass, I believe China's the biggest country. Um, no. Is it? I think it's a trick question. I'm going to say one. Is that
Final
right?
answer? Final
Yeah,
answer?
final answer. Yeah.
It's one. You got it.
No way. That's crazy. Wait, I don't understand the globe enough. As much as I play GeoGuessr on the internet, I don't understand the globe enough to understand how we have 4 time zones in the US and we're much smaller than China, and how do they get away with one? Why can't we have one?
It's a government related decision. Yeah. They should have
Oh, that
multiple,
makes
but so
sense.
yeah, so they're all in the same time zone for meetings and whatnot. Yeah.
That's
They should have multiple.
crazy.
Yeah.
So think about the experience then. Like some people are waking up in the morning and it's like 7 p.m. or something. Or
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
it's like dark out.
Yeah.
Oh, I've never thought about that. And so they go to work at the regular times? How does that work with like everyday walking through life?
I'm very curious. I've never looked into like what people who live in China think of this. And obviously I hope they would want to add more time zones, but I don't know. I'm very curious. Yeah, how
Yeah,
that works.
that's crazy. I've never heard it. So that is absolutely a new thing for me and possibly worthy of going on the list to become an episode because I have some questions that I need answered now. I'm really curious if there are people who, even though they look out when they wake up, they look out and the sun is setting and it's like, oh, time to go to work. I'm going to have some coffee and eat breakfast. I
Right.
don't even know if they drink coffee in China. I'm sure they do. That's probably where it came from.
A lot of tea.
A lot of tea.
For
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. That's amazing. Well, our episode today has nothing to do with any of that. Our episode for the first question, we're going to play for a joke, which means if you get it wrong, you'll tell me a joke. If you get it right, I will tell you a joke. Here is your question. Which type of animal unintentionally became established in Cincinnati after being brought home from a European vacation in the 1950s? Was it A, spiders, B, lizards, or C, monkeys? One of these is well established to this day in Cincinnati just because someone had a vacation and brought some home.
I'm pretty sure I know the answer. I don't need to choose a lifeline, Regis, but I am curious. I do have a question. Are you from Cincinnati? Do you live, have
No,
you lived there?
no,
Oh,
no,
okay.
I haven't. A lot of my friends live in Cincinnati, like my college friends.
And I think Ricky, or he lives close.
Oh, yeah?
I think, I don't know.
Ricky Gore.
Anyways,
Yeah, yeah.
my answer is B, the lizard, correct?
Your answer is correct. It is B, lizards. So basically, you know, Lazarus, the store, right? That's no longer around. That started in Ohio. It was like the Macy's of the time. Well, they went on a family vacation to Italy, and the grandson of someone, it was like, it wasn't a relation by blood, but somehow related on the family trip. He saw these lizards and he's like, oh, that's cool. And he collected them when they were there. And he left, he had 10 of them in a sock and he traveled home with them because it was
No.
1950 and you could do what you wanted.
You could bring anything on the
And
plane.
anything you wanted. And he got here and he just let them go in the backyard. And now, 75 years later, they're just running rampant all over Cincinnati. They're still there. And I've lived in Ohio my whole life and I've never seen a lizard in the wild, I don't think.
No.
I can't think of, that's not a thing here, is it?
Actually, I lied. No, I have. In
Really?
Cincinnati, yes.
Oh, maybe you saw one of these lizards. They call them
I
wall
did.
lizards. Yeah. You may
We
have
went for a
actually seen this
wedding.
lizard.
I have. We
Wow.
went to a Taco Bell
Okay.
and we saw lizards. We're like, this is just a Taco Bell thing. But no, it's a Cincinnati thing. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
the lizard looked up and you was like, yo quiero Taco Bell. You're
Yeah.
like, lizard, you are a long way from home. Yeah, Italian lizard. They have an official Latin name. Let me see if I can go up and find it. The official name is I always do this to myself. I'm always okay. Podarcis or Podarcis muralis. But what it's known as is a common wall lizard.
That sounds
And
like a warlock
apparently,
spell. I'm sorry. Okay,
yeah,
go on. Sorry.
yeah, Podarcis muralis or whatever it was. I said it 5 seconds ago and I don't remember now. That's me in Latin. But the listeners know my worst is French. If you give me French words to pronounce, I will fail. So you got it right, which means I owe you a joke. And I think it's been fun recently, instead of looking for a joke ahead of time, to pull out a handy dandy old style joke book. You tell me a page number between 1 and 630, and then we'll just find what's on that page, and hopefully it's not something problematic.
466.
466. Let's do it. 466. The topic is going to be pills. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is stupid. These are all dumb. A doctor gave a patient a pill that would help him become sexually excited, saying, "Put one of these in your soup at night." The patient called the doctor the next day and said excitedly, "Doc, I got a problem. I can't get the noodles to lie down." See that?
Oh, I regret that. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm so
we need
sorry.
another one.
Okay.
Seeing a grape for the first time, a drunk said, "How do you like that? They're making wine and pills now." That one's a little better, but there's a new birth control pill. It's just sugar mixed with cocaine. You fly so high your husband can't get near you. These are just bad. All right, I'm going to turn one page back and see. This is philosophy and philosophers. Two old friends were sitting on a park bench looking at the beautiful trees. One man said, "You know, Joe, life is like a tree." The other said, "Why is life like a tree?" "How should I know? I'm not a philosopher." Okay, I'm done. There's not going to be good jokes today. Not going to be. Milton Berle has failed us. I'll be honest. Milton Berle fails us every time I go to the book. There was one joke maybe like 3 weeks ago that was pretty good. And
really? Okay.
And it ended there. Yeah.
That was a good.
I have next. We might have to go back to the Friars Club book of an encyclopedia. I have these books because I collected them when I was a kid and I just kept them. And so some of them make no sense. I gave this book to one of my friend's kids, and she gave it back to me because she said, "I don't understand any of these." And it wasn't because she reads just fine. It's because they're all so dated. Like, for instance, no, I'm not even going to read them. They're horrible. They're horrible. The right row. A man and his wife were running to their seats after a movie intermission. In a voice of concern, he asked a man at the end of the row, "Did I step on your toes on the way out?" "You certainly did," responded the other angrily. "All right," he said, turning to his wife, "this is our row."
You know what? It was a different time. I was curious, is this a clean podcast, family friendly?
It doesn't have to be, but I try to keep it that way only because I don't know. It goes out to all of the normal podcast places, but it also goes to NPR through WCBE. And so I don't know. I feel like, since I don't know, I try to keep it somewhat clean.
Fair.
There have been a few episodes that have gotten a little bit crazy, but at the end of the day, I'm a magician. It doesn't get too crazy.
I was gonna say, and thank goodness I didn't have to tell the joke. So
was yours was yours good? Should we tell it anyway? Is it worth telling?
If you want, it's sure. Just kidding. It wasn't. I did have like a dirty joke that I don't think is PC for your podcast. I will tell you later. I'll message you later.
Okay.
But
yeah, absolutely.
The joke I wanted. Yeah.
I was gonna say, let's do it after the podcast on the video, and then those folks on Patreon will get to hear it, and that'll
there
be
we
great.
go. Okay, sounds good.
It's a nice little incentive to join the Patreon. You get bonus stuff. Question 2: we're gonna play for a plug for my new book on your social media. So the internet says it's true stories that sound made up but aren't is available wherever you buy books, but you can hear about it on Tanya's social media if you get this wrong. Which term describes a species that is introduced to a new area and becomes established there? A, endemic, B, invasive, or C, nocturnal?
Can you repeat it? I'm so sorry.
Sure. Yeah. This is what term describes a species that's introduced to a new area and then becomes established there? Is it endemic, invasive, or nocturnal?
Invasive, correct?
You are correct.
All right.
You are correct. You're 2 for 2. And both times you say it and you say, right? Like as if, I'm going to tell you before. You got to commit to that answer, Tanya. And then that's the one we're going to go with.
I felt stupid because I obviously should know that one. I feel I'm an adult. I'm in my 30s. I'm like, why am I questioning which one it is?
That's what happens a lot. People assume that they're trick questions, and some of them are just really easy, and then some of them are needlessly hard.
Okay.
Which one of the questions today is needlessly hard, but I'm not going to tell you which one. So you got that wrong, which means you don't have to plug my book, but I will plug it and I'll tag you in it so it'll show up. So it'll be like you plugged it. I don't know. Question 3, we always play for the same prize, and that is an Internet Says It's True sticker. It's 3 inches, it's square, and it's sticky. You can only get these by winning the question 3, by joining the Patreon, or by peeling them off of random towel dispensers in Columbus area bathrooms. The last one I put it on was at Pierogi Mountain, so there should be one there. You want to go grab it, but it's in the men's room.
Also a great place. Oh, I'll go in.
So good. I love that place. I think I might have given one to my wife to put on the ladies' room too. So either way, you should be fine.
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, it is good, and I don't go there enough, but so good. Mm-hmm. So Pierogi Mountain, for those of you not listening or not from Central Ohio, has a rotating menu of pierogi, and they always have different stuff, and most of it is locally sourced ingredients. Also amazing sausage, kielbasa, I believe also locally sourced, maybe from Falter's, possibly. I'm not sure.
You know Amber Falter, my good friend.
I do know Amber Falter, and I believe that maybe they're doing that. Maybe I might just be giving them a plug for no reason. They might not use Falters at all, but yeah.
I don't even eat meat, and I support. Yeah. I
can't remember if Amber's been on this show or was on my previous show. But she was on the previous show. Yeah, when during the shutdown in 2020, and the internet went down halfway through the show. It was embarrassing.
Wow.
So for question 3, here we go. Which environmental feature most often allows cold-blooded animals to survive in cooler cities? Is it A, seasonal migration, B, heat retained by buildings, or C, increased rainfall? So this is an environmental feature. It most often allows cold-blooded animals to survive in cooler cities. Seasonal migration, heat retained by buildings, or increased rainfall.
Listen, okay, I'm going to confidently say it. Is it A?
It is B, heat retained by buildings.
No.
I'm sorry that I instilled the confidence in you. That was the hard one.
Darn it.
Actually, the next one is iffy. The next one could be considered difficult also. So no sticker for you this time, Tanya. You got to go to Pierogi Mountain, peel it off of the towel dispenser.
Will do.
Yeah, so apparently urban structures absorb and release heat, which creates warmer microclimates that reptiles and other cold-blooded animals can exploit. With that said, I guess just Cincinnati has lizards. They have to be brought here? I don't know. Like, there should be reptiles everywhere in Ohio, if that's true, or in the cities of Ohio.
Well, sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I think isn't that also the reason why we don't have like crazy tornadoes and stuff in the city? Because like there's some sort of heat retained by all of the buildings that makes it a milder climate. I don't know. I might be making that up. I'm not a meteorologist.
I'm really not sure. I just know that like our architecture is not made for like the rising climate, like our global warming, our infrastructure in like America versus like India, like in places that have hotter climates have like gotten the architecture down to be cool and breezy. And there's a lot of lizards there too. Interesting. But
yeah.
Yeah.
I was in Costa Rica in November, and they just have like iguanas everywhere. They're everywhere. And they have giant ones, like, like 2 feet long. They're just chill. They just walk right by you, and it's like no big deal for them. And I'm like, this is amazing.
Right.
So if you want that experience, go to Cincinnati, and you can have it on a miniature scale.
And sorry for doxing Ricky Glore. I'm so sorry. I'm pretty sure he lives around there.
No, you know what? Ricky doesn't mind. Ricky is happy to have the mention. If you're listening, Ricky, which you're not, what's up? Good to see you. I haven't had Ricky on the show. I need to have Ricky on the show sometime. I've had Ricky is another comedian who I also met when I met Tanya, who opened for Glenn Tickle. Question 4, we're going to play for something fun. I've done this the last 3 weeks, just a favorite music recommendation. So if you get it wrong, you'll give me a music recommendation. If you get it right, I'll give you one of mine. And feel free to give one either way. I don't care. Which sense do most lizards rely on most heavily to detect nearby movement or predators? Is it their hearing, their vision, or their taste? Now,
Hearing,
this is
vision,
to
taste.
detect movement and predators.
Hmm. Hearing, vision, taste. You know, they don't really have huge ears. They do sometimes have big eyes, but I feel like this is a trick. I'm gonna say taste.
This was a tough one. The answer is vision. I would have said taste as well. I would also have answered taste because you always think about them like flicking their tongue out, you know? But most lizards are highly visual hunters. They rely heavily on sight to detect prey, predators, and movement around them. Many species can detect extremely small motion changes, which helps them react quickly to danger. They're like the velociraptors in Jurassic Park. You just got to stay still, and those Cincinnati lizards won't get you.
Yeah.
You know what the coolest thing about these lizards are? They call them the Lazarus lizards because of the kid was like a grand relative to the Lazarus guy who owned all the stores. And
You're kidding.
So the Lazarus lizards is why they call them that. It's weird. It sounds heftier than that, but it's just a dude's name.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Lazarus. Look, it's a
Not a
Lazarus
fan.
lizard. Next time you go to a wedding in Cincinnati and see a lizard, just be like, that's a Lazarus lizard. I can tell you all about it. I was on a podcast about it.
I was on a podcast. I don't like arbitrarily choosing names. Like I'm sure you've heard like Palantir is based off the orb in Lord of the Rings. They're just choosing
No.
random names. Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Gross.
I know.
I feel bad for all the Lord of the Rings fans that they have to be associated with Palantir now.
I know.
I'm not a big like Tolkien guy. Like I don't really know much. I haven't read any of the books. I've seen a few of the movies, so I don't know the lore or the names of things. But so it would have just completely gone by me. But when you think about like everything's like most names are made up. If it's not based off of someone's last name, you know, like Google is like an everyday word. And
yeah,
that was
true.
just something they came up with. I don't know.
Everything's
Maybe
kind of
there's
made
some.
up.
I really dig etymology, though. I really like figuring out like the interesting. Like one of the coolest episodes we did on this podcast was about the origin of the name Bluetooth for Bluetooth technology.
Ooh.
It comes from a Viking, and the dude's name was Harold Bluetooth.
Everyone
And
should know this.
Everyone should. And the dude had a Bluetooth. He had like a dead tooth. And that's how people knew him, because he had a dead tooth. Bluetooth wasn't his real last name, but that was what everyone knew him as, is Harold Bluetooth. And he was known for like uniting different parts of Norway. And so when these technology giants were all coming together from different companies to come up with this technology, they're like, well, this guy united these different things and we're uniting these different things. So Bluetooth was the project name of that technology. And they just liked it so much, that's what they marketed it as, Bluetooth. So there you go.
Okay. I love that.
That's a whole
No,
episode.
that's a good usage of like history and lore.
Absolutely.
I'm also interested in etymology. So one of my majors was Spanish. I do not speak Spanish anymore, so I was a language major. And I'm always interested in like the etymology of words and the history of words, and also last names. And I remember when I used to work at a coffee shop, I would just like guess people's. It's not. I shouldn't have, but I did. I'd be like, "Is your last name from like a certain Scandinavian country?" And they also happen to have an accent. They're like, "No, you got it wrong." And I'm like, "I should stop this." So.
Yeah, I always am curious about that as well. I had a dental appointment today, and my dental hygienist's certificate was up on the wall. Her diploma, what am I saying? Certificate. Her accreditation or whatever it was up on the wall. And her middle name was, I'm not doxing anyone here, I'm just going to give the middle name. Her middle name was Juanita. And she was like a tiny little blonde white girl. And I had so many questions. I did not ask them, but I had so many questions about that. I'm sure it's a family name that's been passed down, but that's like a very traditionally Hispanic name. And
yes.
So I was confused by it. So,
and it's like,
but
how
I
do you
didn't know
bring
anything
that up?
about this person. It's a tough thing to bring up. Yeah. Especially with someone's fingers in your mouth.
Right.
It's like, why is your name Juanita? Yeah. It didn't make sense to me. So, but I'm proud to announce I am a member of the No Cavity Club. Yes.
Like you've never had a cavity?
No. Today I didn't have any cavities.
Oh.
I once went into the dentist and had 10 cavities.
Oh.
And this was probably like 15 years ago. And I just decided I was Hulk, and I just said, fill them all. And we did 10 cavities in one sitting. That dentist was like a personal friend of mine. And when we left the office, or what left the chair, went to the front office, everyone had gone home for the day. It was dark out. The lights were off in the lobby of the dentist's office. It was crazy. It was probably like a 5-hour dentist appointment.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was nuts. I'll never have to do that again. So that's why when I become a member of the No Cavity Club, I am super proud. And
Yeah.
my only regret is that they didn't have like a cardboard treasure chest for me to pull a little prize out of at the lobby, because that's what I had
You
when I was a
could have
kid.
picked out a blue tooth.
Oh, hey,
Mm.
or maybe a okay. No.
Well, I have something to tell you.
Yes.
I've never had a cavity until my most recent visit in
No
my 30s,
way.
in my whole life.
Wow. Did you know, like, you knew something was up when you went in? Or was it a
No, they
surprise?
told me. It was one of the like, what's it called? The teeth that you don't need, that
The
that
molars?
that you can get removed. Like everyone
Oh, the
has them, but
wisdom teeth?
the wisdom tooth. Sorry, yes.
Yeah.
It was my wisdom tooth. I only have one, and I thought we all had multiple. And they're like, "Oh, you have a cavity in that because like your toothbrush can't go back that far." And I'm like, "Wow, I've never had one. That's crazy."
Interesting. So they fill it like normal, I guess, when it's a wisdom tooth? Like
I
they
don't know.
drill it
I
and
didn't
fill it?
listen to their recommendations. I was in between
Okay.
jobs, and I'm like, I'm not paying for this, so who
Oh,
knows?
well, if it's not causing you problems, who cares? I mean,
Exactly.
you know, if you're not hurting and you're able to talk, and you know,
Yeah,
that's
big
fine.
dental's not getting me anytime
No,
soon. We're good.
why would? Yeah, no, you're smarter than dentists. You've outsmarted the dentists.
Yes.
So take that, Juanita. Question 5. You've done very well. You are, what are we? 2 for 4? 2 for 4. But this is the one that takes the cake. So if you get this next one right, it's as if you got them all right, this final question. But if you get it wrong, never allowed back on the podcast ever again. Banned. Here's your question. And this one is not multiple choice. What's a rule that you broke as a kid that still makes you laugh now as an adult? Were you a rebellious child?
No.
No. But you didn't break any rules when you were a kid?
I'm trying to think. This is hard for me. Yeah. Is
Yeah.
this easier for other people to answer? This is hard for me to answer. A rule that my parents instilled in our house that I broke. Let's see. I mean, who hasn't, when they were a teenager, left in the middle of the night to go hang out with their friends?
Well, that's a good answer, and it's a right answer. But I'll tell you who. Me.
Oh.
Now, I will say I did get grounded once for staying out too late and not calling, and just I probably got home at, I don't know, like 2 a.m. or something like that. But I never did the 80s movie thing where you like sneak out once your parents go to bed and, you know, come back before dawn. I never did that.
Yeah.
To my memory, I don't think I ever did that. I could be wrong. My dad could say, "Oh, you did it this one time," and we were extremely angry. Now, when you did that, what were you doing? Where'd you go?
I did it once because I was feeling rebellious, and I just went to my friend who was a neighbor's house, and I like ran back because I was afraid. But like
I love that.
I have strict
what
immigrant
age would
parents.
that have been?
I was like maybe 16, 17, and
Okay.
yeah, I was the baby, and I have 2 older siblings, and they did all the rebellious things. For whatever reason, they were very strict on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that works. That works, which means you are welcome back on this show anytime you want. It's been a pleasure having you on. I would like everyone to go follow Tanya. Just it's totally Tanya with 3 L's, TOTALLY, and then it's Tanya spelled like Tucker, Tanya, TOTALLYTANYA. Also, you can follow her show, Spice Up Eats. And it's spelled exactly like it sounds. Spice Up Eats. Check it out. Watch it. You can learn a little bit about food and enjoy some comedy while you're at it. What else is coming up? Do you have any shows coming up that we can talk about?
Ooh, yes. I actually have a show that Kitty Long is producing. She was on your show in person and on your podcast. She's great. Good friend of mine. She has a show on February 21st at the Nest Theater.
Okay, February 21st, Columbus, Ohio, the Nest Theater. You can hear Tanya Vora along with Kitty Long. And it's been a pleasure having you on.
Thanks for having me.
Well, that's all for this week. Thank you so much to my friend Tanya Vora for being my guest, and thanks to you for listening. Here's a kid who is secretly a lizard person.
Thank you for listening to The Internet Says It's True. To listen to episodes ad-free and a week early, support us on Patreon. You can do that at patreon.com/Michael Kent. If you learned something just now that you didn't already know, go to the Apple Podcast app and leave us a review with 5 stars and a few words. That helps us a ton, because that's how the algorithm works. I don't know what an algorithm is, but just do it. See you next week for a brand new episode of The Internet Says It's True!
The Internet Says It's True would like to thank the gold-level Patreon subscribers whose monthly contributions help make this show possible. Eugene Anderson, Jim and Joanne Martin, Richard Duvall, and the show's official Emperor Kick Track. The show is written and produced by me, Michael Kent. The theme song is by Finite Music Forge. All audio clips in this episode are used for education and commentary and used under Fair Use Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107. You can listen to past episodes by searching for The Internet Says It's True wherever you get your podcasts, and you can see bonus content at patreon.com/Michael Kent.